before anything, we're going to take a little history lesson. But here's what we're looking at today on MyVetteHeadLife. We're checking out the brand new, just released this morning, but not the ZORA, the ZR1x. I'm not disappointed. I'm kind of disappointed the name's not the ZORA. And then here we go. They released the new 2026 Corvettes here today or this week as well, with a fresh updated interior, and there's an Easter egg hid in the advertisement video. Now, all this performance craze and everything was started by ZORA Arkastuntov back in 1963 with the Corvette Z06. It was a 327 cubic inch with 360 horsepower. Now, one thing it does not say is it had a larger, it's called a big tank and big brake package. It does say upgraded brakes, but with this being an AI search, a lot of stuff that I know about the car is not covered, but it was a big gas tank and big brakes, manual 4-speed. It was a race car for the street and to drive to the track, run a few laps around the track, and go back home. It was a gentleman race car class type car. And back in the day, in the early 60s and everything, you would see Corvettes in all the SCCA type racing and stock car. They called it stock car, but it's called, I guess, gentleman club racing. You would see these type cars, and that's why there's not a lot of them left. So, leading up to the ZR1, which did not start in 1990, it started in 1970 to 72, with the C3 ZR1 with a high output LT1 350 cubic inch V8, which was, I think, very high. Oh, y'all can see me stretching. I forgot I had that angle on. But I've already tried to attempt this video 3 or 4 times. But let's get back into the car. You notice at 327 pumped out 360 horsepower, and as I've said before, back in the 60s and 70s, horsepower was very underrated and underreported. It was hidden from a lot of the new incoming insurance companies that were coming around in order to play with the numbers and get around adjusters. But if you see right here, only 53 C3 ZR1 Corvettes were produced. There aren't that many left, and I've seen them in the museum, and I've seen them auction for $1.5 to $2 million when they're found. So they don't look like they'd be a very expensive car. But don't let the cover of the book fool you. The ZR1 back then wasn't a heavy hitter as it is now. And then we go up to the C4 ZR1, which was 1990, which a lot of people say was the first ZR1. But I just showed you proof that C3, 1970 to 72. Well, here we are in C4 and the re-emergence of the performance level ZR1 that we all know. This is the LT5 Lotus built 32 valve 4 cam monster, 405 horsepower. This was known as the king of the hill that would do a standing 70 mile per hour burnout. Imagine going 70. Hey, I may or may have not in my Z06, but it was a big road, okay? And it was empty. But imagine doing that, popping the clutch in at 70, this thing just stopping and doing a burnout. That's how much torque and power it had at high RPMs. So let's go on up. Now, here is the 2009 Blue Devil ZR1 that I think this was the first, I'm trying to think about, yeah, this was the first boosted Corvette from the factory. Now, there were some coach companies that did Callaways and stuff like that. If you know what the Callaway B2K is, back in 1987, which was a twin turbo 87 Callaway Corvette that was sold at Chevrolet dealers, but that was built by Callaway. This was factory produced, 6.2 liter with an LS9 supercharger sitting on top of it. Produced 638 horsepower. I have gotten to drive one of these before, and it don't matter what gear you're in. When you press the pedal, it wants to go immediately. There is no power loss in any gear in this car. And you can see we were getting in some major performance numbers. Now 3.4 is nothing to shake your head at, but when we start looking into this new one, and you start seeing that the C8 is the fastest two-wheel drive car in the world, 0 to 60, quarter mile track times. This is what started it all, and in 2012, the best one was built. The Centennial 100th anniversary of Chevrolet, not 100th anniversary of Corvette. There is no 100th anniversary Corvette. The highest anniversary package we have right now is 70 years. And because it was born in 1953. So we've got a 70th anniversary Corvette, but the 100th anniversary of Chevrolet racing of Louis Chevrolet is what 2012, and that 100 badge that you see right next to the A pillar when you get in the car, and on the wheels and on the steering wheel, that's what that means. It's not. I've had people say, when was there a 100th anniversary Corvette? Well, technically there wasn't. It's 100th anniversary of Chevrolet. So Corvette was picked to be that flagship, which went from the base model, the Grand Sport, the Z06, and the ZR1s. Now, the 2012 ZR1 Centennial package lapped Laguna Seca and set a factory produced car record. Like, it set the fastest production car track record in 2012, and it was car of the year and performance car of the year, driver car of the year, and everything. Car and Driver Motor Trend in every magazine there was. All right, let's move on. Here we go. Went too fast. I was trying to pause it. 2019. Now, the C6 that we just looked at is a better car than this one. This is a 1 year only. It was kind of thrown together. It'd been speculated for years and years and years. And I think Chevrolet think if we don't make it now, we're going to miss the boat. So I just think they threw something together and they made a few of them. There are not very many out there. So if you see on any car markets flipping through the internet, or it pops up on your Facebook Marketplace and somebody's got one for $197,000 all the way up to $250 or $275 even at some of these high-end car lots with a lot of low miles. I mean, it was only made 1 year, and it was a swan song to the front engine. That's the biggest thing about this car. This is the last front engine rear wheel drive Corvette made. Now it had a big 6.2 liter with a huge supercharger on the front sticking out the hood. See that right there? They had to put a big bulge, and when you open that hood, that black hood scoop stays put, and that's the supercharger sitting under it. So there's a huge hole in the hoods when you see these at car shows. But 755 horsepower. It was the most powerful Corvette at the time, and the fastest to 0 to 60, quarter miles, all that as well. But when you try to put this thing around a track, the rear end wanted to beat you to the end of it. So most of the time, even with a lot of the pro drivers that I watch on Car and Driver and all the automotive magazines, they say it's very, very hard to drive and very difficult because it just has so much rear wheel horsepower that you better learn how to drive in reverse if you want to make a lap time in it. Because when you go around a corner, the rear end literally wants to beat you. You'll see your spoiler go ahead of you, and then you'll be facing the opposite direction. So here we go. Let's move on. Now, when they went to mid-engine, not rear, a lot of people come up to me and they ask, what do you think about this rear motor Corvette when it first went? I'm like, it's not rear, but what's in the back? No, it's not in the back. Here's your rear wheel, here's your front wheel. Your motor's right here. That's middle. That's middle. Mid-engine is in the middle. It's not rear wheel. Some of your old Porsches and even some of the newer Porsches with the mower back here, either on the rear axle and over, that's rear engine. But if it's between the axles in front of the rear wheel and behind the front wheel, that's mid-engine. Mid-engine, like a lot of your exotics overseas. Ferraris, Lamborghinis, most of them are mid-engine. And they are flat plane crank, where we've always been running cross plane cranks. I'm going to let y'all read these as I pause each section so you can take a minute to glance over, but they can run cooler. They're lighter weight. They don't run as smooth as our current cross plane, but they're a lot lighter weight, and they sound phenomenal. I don't know if they sound better. Some of them do. It all depends on how they're made. I think the Corvette flat plane, for it being an American car, sounds absolutely phenomenal compared to the Italians. But the higher pitch rev, like the Voodoo Mustang, that GT350, Ford went to a flat plane V8. So that's why they have that higher rasping growl that they have now. And then your Ferrari V8s, your Lamborghinis, your Audi R8s, your trying to think of some of the other famous, your Bugattis. They all have mid-engine V8s. And here it's explaining the cross plane that we just came out of. Now, most of the cars that we still run, like the Chargers and Challengers, unless they've gone to, I heard they're bringing back the Hemi, but like the small block Chevys, all that are cross plane. Like you saw in that first picture, that's cross plane. And when you're looking at the other, that's flat plane. That's cross plane and flat plane. That's what we're looking at now, and that's how the engine turns. That's how that crank turns. It's hard. It's really technical and hard to explain. But that's kind of why I put these illustrations up here. I wish I had a video, well, if I'd have thought about it, to put in this one. And because of this man right here, this is the father of the Corvette, or known as the father of the Corvette. The creators of the Corvettes actually, they designed a beautiful car back in 1953. Bill Mitchell and Harley Earl designed a beautiful car, but they never fought for it like this man did when he come over here, and he knew what this car could do because he come from overseas where he saw small cars with V8s, kind of like Carroll Shelby thought about. But this is ZORA Duntov. The ZORA we've been waiting for that we didn't get right now with the ZR1x. Now, y'all can read while I describe a little bit. Now, I've told you a lot about him in the past. I've told you a lot about him now. But he wanted to transform not only the V8 into a small car, he wanted to transform the Corvette into a supercar well before its time. This mid-engine didn't just come along. This man's responsible for the CERV program and the mid-engine dream and design. Now, when I just said CERV program, I'm talking about this right here. 1950. Y'all see what I'm circling? 66 years. This mid-engine isn't just like, oh, they just wanted to do it because everybody... No, we wanted to do it well before a lot of others wanted to do it. ZORA wanted to do it well before because he knew balancing the car like that would make it handle better. Like all the others all around the world have whipped up on Chevrolet and Corvette and Camaros and everything for a long, long time. And, you know, I'm not going to say the C6 didn't start jumping in on them, because that C6 ZR1 started coming in and beating on some people, making Porsche and everybody mad. And now we've got the C8 two-wheel drive that come in and is doing it. Go watch Haggerty on the ZR1 versus the Ferrari and the Lamborghini. You'll see how bad that two-wheel drive, not this one that we're fixing to introduce right now, that was introduced this morning. But this mid-engine has been a dream since 1959 of ZORA Duntov. Here's the CERV 1. I think this is the 2 or 3. This may be the CERV 2. Well, let me rewind that real quick, because here's what we're here for. Now we're leading into the biggest dog to get thrown in the shelter today. All right. They thought the pit was nasty before. They're fixing to throw a really big one in that's nasty. And I don't believe in dog fighting. I'm just giving y'all some analogies. There's fixing to be a big old hungry wolf walk up into the tribal pack. A stranger. An underdog. This thing's starting to take flesh from the rest of the world. And here we go. All you all-wheel drives around the world, now it's time to get scared, because the two-wheel drive just started whooping up on your brand new ones. Well, here comes little brother, and he's hungrier. Oh, my heart's pounding. Now, here's the specs. I'm just going to pause it because I've already kind of talked about this a little bit. But this is the two-wheel drive model. 1,064 horsepower, twin turbo. Now, two-wheel drive. This is the fastest two-wheel drive car, production car in the world right now. This thing is hitting 0 to 60 in 2.3, 2.2. It is the fastest two-wheel drive to 60 and the fastest to the end of the quarter mile with about 9 seconds. So the ZR1x is supposed to be sub 2 second to 0 to 60. And I'll go show you a video in a minute on the website when I get done with this. And I'll walk you through what they mean about the E all-wheel drive. This car has no drive, I'll just tell you, no drivetrain to the front at all. It's batteries in the middle, right where your cockpit is, right where your center console is. All that's batteries right there in between you. Balanced, dead center of the car, powering the front wheels. Now, only when you lay it, because I've driven one of the E-Rays, and it's phenomenal, the response. You nail that pedal, you can watch that meter on that all-wheel drive electric, and it don't kick up in the front. It's flat and it just pulls. You could feel the front pulling because it's taking up most of the loose traction from the back, and that you get wheel chirp when you nail your real heavy rear wheel drive cars. You don't get that in the E all-wheel drive E-Ray. So the only thing that they're saying hybrid electric, which now they're saying electrified front wheel all-wheel drive, it simplifies it a little bit, but a lot of people are going to see the E or the hybrid drive, and they're going to think, well, you know what? I don't mind if we even get I'm getting too far ahead because I saw an Easter egg. That's what we're going to talk about in a minute. So I was just stopping to tell you that E all-wheel drive is torque vectoring. It sends torque to each wheel as needed or all at once for pure power. It's very advanced. And then here's the ZR1x. 1,250 horsepower and electric front wheel drive motor. That's basically it's assisted all-wheel drive. The front wheels assist in traction when needed, but it will operate in all-wheel drive as needed torque vectoring. Look at that one right there. That is just, that car looks like a menace. Now, there's the black one you saw with the red. That was a ZTK. This is a ZTK lower package because it doesn't have the carbon fiber race wheels on it. And this one here is just a low wing. This is the higher speed car right here, the silver one, because this track package is for downforce, and downforce will slow you down a bit, but this streamline with the low spoiler on the back, this is the ZR1 that's built for speed. This one is built for carving you up and blowing you away when it runs away on the straightaway. Now, like I said, it wasn't the ZORA. The question mark means I saw an Easter egg over here. in the interior features. One thing Chevrolet really listened to us about, I know I drew it to look like a track, but all those clunky buttons are gone. Now, now they call it a passenger grab handle because you can't see it in the dark, but right in here, there's a handle to where your hand can actually grab. But all that right there used to be clunky buttons that were in the way that you would accidentally hit when your passenger would accidentally hit when they would grab it. And they moved it here. There's your AC controls now. Your window controls were put back over. See right there on the door, you got window controls again. And over here's window controls, and I see some of the controls right here that used to be there. They simplified it, and I love it. Chevrolet listened. Thank you, Chevrolet. And a lot of them are in here too. Now, let's go to the next picture. This is the one I was talking about with the Easter egg. Because I have not seen this in any of the other ones right now. It is showing combined horsepower. And it's showing parts of the motor in hybrid mode. Are we getting a ZORA that's a hypercar, much like the Porsche 918, the LaFerrari, and that McLaren P7 years ago, that were hybrid powered, all-wheel drive hypercars? Now, I don't mind hybrid power. You can still use gas to charge the batteries. It's much more efficient than stopping at all these charging spots all over the town over the river that get in your way sometime when the parking lots are full. It says do not park here, and so I'm going to respect the Tesla driver. If that's what they want, they need to charge their car while they're going in the mall. I don't mind it. I'm not going to be one of these redneck fools with a half a lift kit and they're plowing the road with their trailer hitch that are going to park in 3 of their spots on purpose. I'm not going to do that. Please, don't be rude. If you want to drive a truck like that, just fine. If they want to drive a Tesla, it's fine too. That's what they wanted. If somebody wants to drive a little bitty Honda, don't laugh at them. They're working on something. They're getting in there and learning how to do something just like you are. This car passion isn't just for you or me or anybody else, because I love foreign cars too, as y'all could tell from some of my older videos on the other channel, on my Facebook, and some of my friends that know me. But I will put a link to my other my other YouTube, that I'm taking some of these older videos to and going strictly MyVetteHeadLife on a Corvette channel, like I've always planned to do. I'm about to do some cleanup. But that's the Easter egg I saw. That's the speculation. I've been pretty good on predicting all these Corvettes since 2020, all the way up to this one. Now I'm going to add a little thing to the ZORA because I thought it may be hybrid and E-old. That would make a very, very, very efficient car because there's less weight of the all-wheel drive system, and you still got the E all-wheel drive with hybrid drive. That would be amazing. So that's what I saw in the Easter eggs, because I have never seen this before in all the Corvettes I've looked at. Alright, I'm going to leave myself down here in the corner while I do another window capture and I clean up my screen a little bit, because I want to kind of show y'all a little bit of what I was talking about on the all-wheel drive. I'm going to pop it up on the screen here in a minute. I'm going to do a window capture. Alright, so we're going to start just from here and just, go to upcoming. Now, it shows the electric drive unit is only on the front axle, like I was saying. So when it goes to that, it makes it way more efficient and a lot easier on repairs when it's done this way. Well, it might not show. Might be having hard internet at night. But see, these are the batteries right here. It's just showing you the engine at the moment. And there's no trunk anymore because of the aerodynamics on the front and the what they call waterfall scoop, where air goes in and holds the car down. I even brought that up to the old design, the chief engineer in North America man, look at that, how they're doing the interior, and that is sharp. But before he retired, he said, how would you know about that when we hadn't released it yet? I said, I watch patents. I really want to show y'all the electric all-wheel drive. See, there is no drivetrain whatsoever hooked to the rear. It's hooked to an electrical system. And I bet the weight on this thing is phenomenal. It may be 50-50 balance now, because it was 48-52 on the base model. But I bet you they shifted to almost a 50-50 balance with that much weight in the middle and just that being up front powering the wheels. But this is by far an electric Corvette or a hybrid Corvette. I think they confused a lot of people when they said that, because there's no hybrid powertrain at all. Do I think we may be getting one? Yes, I do. But for tonight, I think that's all I'm gonna do. I'll touch on some of the other stuff that's being rendered, and I think Corvette's about to branch off. They may branch off and be their own division because they're getting real big and bringing in a lot of money for GM. They may do like Ram and go to Corvette, because there's some more vehicles coming that aren't cars. So we'll talk about that later, because I was going to talk about that this morning because it was speculation. That's what we might get with the letter X. We thought we might be getting an XUV crossover that's been teased at us for a lot of years, and that they're looking at four-door, what is it? Ford's looking at four-door Mustangs, like a sedan looking, and I'm talking about a Charger challenging. I said Charger challenging, but yes, and possibly a rebadge of a Camaro four-door that might come back as like a Nova or a new Impala. I would love that, to see a muscle Impala come back again. And but they're teasing a four-door shooting brake, kind of like the Ferrari FF, if y'all know what that was. They're teasing one of those, but that's been teased for years and years and years. But with it being mid-engine now, they could possibly go after Porsche Panamera. But if y'all like this content, y'all like what you've heard tonight and listened to and seen that I'm really passionate about it, and I feel like I'm confident and I'm good at it, click like and subscribe and hit those notifications, because there's a lot more news coming, and I really believe we're about to see some big stuff, and the future's still very bright. So, God bless y'all. Enjoy whatever car passion you have or whatever hobby passion you have. Y'all know I've got a lot of hobbies, but this is the one I love the most, and it's not just Corvettes. I get stuck with that a lot, and it frustrates me sometimes and frustrates my ADD and stuff like that, but it's just my favorite. So, God bless, share, and I'll have it's not just Trey Dueling anymore, but I'll have the Trey Stig Dueling page going better soon, and I'll transfer a lot of the clutter on this one that's not Corvette or car related over to that one, because that's more the lifestyle challenge. But God bless, good night. Hope y'all enjoyed it.